O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Ahurquit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
So, what if the most advanced alchemical laboratory in history isn't, filled with glassware and Bunsen burners, but is actually sitting right in your chair listening to this deep dive right now?
Yeah, that is the exact premise we are looking at today.
Right, and our mission today is decoding this giant stack of incredibly dense sources. I mean, we have everything from the 16th century alchemical manuscripts, Splendor Solis, to modern philosophers, Sri Aurobindo, and even the skeptic David Hume.
It is a wild mix for sure, but they all point to this one crazy idea that your own biological body is, the ultimate laboratory.
Okay, let's unpack this for everyone, because ancient texts talk about the four classical elements, right? But it honestly reads like an ancient organic chemistry textbook.
Oh, completely. Like when they talk about Earth, they describe this foundational structural building block.
Which biologically is just carbon. I mean, it forms the rigid backbone of all our cells.
Exactly. And then they mention fire as this volatile combustible driver of action, which chemically maps directly to hydrogen, like the explosive energy fuel of the physical body.
So taking this biological view further, Sri Aurobindo actually called our physical form matter's crypt.
Yeah, he had this view that dense matter isn't just, dirt. He saw it as divine spirit that deliberately condensed itself into a heavy, forgetful form.
Wow.
And David Hume actually backs up this subjective nature of physical reality from a purely philosophical angle.
Because Hume argued that what you perceive as a solid external world is really just a localized impression happening entirely inside your mind.
Right, it is highly subjective.
But wait, let me push back on this a little bit, because if Hume says reality is basically a mental impression and Aurobindo says our matter is just condensed spirit, aren't we just playing philosophical mind games here?
I can see why you would say that, yeah.
Like, if I am sitting here listening to you, how does viewing my body as a subjective illusion actually change my carbon and hydrogen on a literal, biological level?
Well, what's fascinating here is that paradox is the exact problem these texts are trying to solve.
Okay.
Because they knew you cannot just think your way out of a dense physical body. You need a mechanical tool to bridge that gap between infinite spirit and rigid physical form.
Right, you need an engine.
Exactly. The esoteric texts symbolize this goal mathematically as squaring the circle, meaning fitting the infinite into the finite, occupying the invisible center.
And the physical engine to get there is the fourfold breath.
Right, square breathing.
Which is literally emptying your lungs completely, inhaling, holding that breath, and exhaling, all to a strict synchronized count.
Yeah, and mechanically controlling your respiration like that totally alters your blood's carbon dioxide and oxygen levels.
Here is where it gets really interesting to me. It is basically thermodynamics. Because you have the volatile, anxious mind, which is like evaporating steam, and that needs to be anchored or fixed.
Oh, that is a great way to put it.
And then at the same time, dense, trapped emotional trauma is like ice that has to be melted or volatilized.
Right, and the alchemists called that dual mechanism solve et coagula.
Dissolve and coagulate.
Exactly. You tear down a rigid, panicked physiological state so you can rebuild it with real stability.
So once you use that breathing engine to stabilize your nervous system, you ignite what they call the hidden sun.
Yes, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, to reach that sun, the texts warn you first have to confront the soul nature.
The black sun.
Right. It was a metaphorical descent into the vast, chaotic, dark forces of your own unconscious mind.
Which is pretty heavy stuff. And the 16th century Splendor Solis manuscript illustrates the aftermath of that perfectly.
It really does.
Because its final images show a massive, brilliantly radiant sun hanging over a completely barren, dead landscape.
And that barren landscape proves something crucial. It signifies that the alchemist's life force energy has been entirely internalized. It is no longer radiating outward.
So your physical body basically becomes a hermetically sealed container, like an airtight vessel, trapping and intensifying all that light inward.
Exactly. And that massive inward pressure leads right back to Sri Aurobindo's concept of cellular consciousness.
Right.
By forcing all that energy inward, The dense physical body, that crypt we talked about, is systematically transformed cell by cell into a transparent, luminous vehicle.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Because when you take a breath right now, you probably are not thinking about ancient alchemy.
Probably not, no.
But this ancient framework shows how you can actively use breath and mental focus to shatter your own psychological rigidity. You can forge entirely new, unified clarity.
You really are in the driver's seat of your own biology.
Exactly. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to chew on. These esoteric texts outline a grueling 7-step biological transformation.
Right, driving that contained energy from the blood plasma all the way down into your bone, marrow, and highly refined fluids.
Yeah. So if human consciousness really can pack bioenergy into specific tissues to systematically build a literal light body, what physical evidence of this cellular alchemy might modern medical scans be entirely overlooking in highly advanced practitioners?